In the desolate landscape of a barren wasteland, the legendary battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 unfolded with an intensity that shook the very ground beneath them. The two behemoths, both seemingly indestructible, clashed in a spectacle of raw power and brutal force that seemed to defy all reason. Doomsday, with his glowing red eyes and towering figure, was a force to be reckoned with. His alien physiology allowed him to adapt and become immune to whatever danger he faced, making him an unstoppable opponent for even the likes of Superman. But now, faced with the reptilian monstrosity known as SCP-682, he had met his match. SCP-682, with its multiple glowing eyes and razor-sharp claws, was a creature of nightmares. Its ability to adapt and resist harm was rumored to be even more potent than Doomsday's, making it a formidable adversary in this epic battle of titans. As the two monsters clashed, their attacks were swift and merciless. Doomsday used his immense strength to rip and tear at SCP-682, while the reptilian creature countered with its metallic teeth, claws, and bladed tail. The two monsters seemed to be mirrors of each other, each relentless in their pursuit of victory. The landscape around them was torn apart as shockwaves emanated from the epicenter of their battle. Rocks crumbled, trees shattered, and the very air seemed to crackle with energy as the two monsters continued to exchange blow after devastating blow. Superman, floating high above the battlefield, watched with a mixture of awe and trepidation. He had faced Doomsday before, but now he realized that Doomsday was not the ultimate threat he had once believed. The true danger lay in the unstoppable reptilian monstrosity that now faced off against him. As the battle raged on, both monsters began to show signs of wear and tear. Doomsday's spikes were dulled, his fists bloody from the relentless onslaught of SCP-682. The reptilian creature, in turn, bore numerous wounds from Doomsday's powerful attacks, its metallic skin cracked and damaged in multiple places. But neither monster showed any signs of stopping. They continued to clash, their roars echoing across the desolate landscape, their bodies locked in a vicious dance of death and destruction. Each attack was met with a counterattack, each blow followed by a devastating retaliation. As the battle reached its climax, both monsters entered a state of rage unlike anything the world had ever seen. Their glowing eyes burned bright with fury as they unleashed their full power upon each other in a frenzy of violence. Doomsday and SCP-682 collided with a force that shook the very foundations of reality. Their bodies intertwined in a brutal tangle of limbs and claws, their faces pressed together in a primal display of strength and dominance. Superman, realizing the danger of allowing the battle to continue unchecked, sprang into action. With a burst of speed, he conjured a massive container from thin air and trapped both monsters inside, sealing them away for eternity. Inside the container, the eternal battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 continued unabated. The two monsters clashed with unrelenting fury, their powers matched in a never-ending struggle for supremacy. And as the world outside the container watched in awe and fear, they knew that the battle between these two unstoppable forces would rage on forever, a testament to the raw power and unstoppable will of these legendary beings. Words. 563. A desolate landscape stretched out before them, devoid of any signs of civilization. The ground trembled as the two titans faced off against each other, Doomsday, the unstoppable alien monster behemoth, and SCP-682, the indestructible reptilian monstrosity. Both beings possessed the incredible ability to adapt and become immune to whatever danger they were exposed to, making them formidable opponents for each other. Doomsday, with his glowing red eyes, stared at SCP-682 and declared, "Finally, I have found a worthy opponent." The lizard-like creature responded with a hissing voice, "Our battle will be legendary." The clash of the two unstoppable monsters sent shockwaves across the entire battlefield as they used their sharp body parts to clash with each other. Doomsday unleashed his immense strength to rip and tear apart SCP-682, while the reptilian monstrosity used its metallic teeth and sharp claws to inflict damage on the alien monster. Both beings suffered from each other's brutal assaults, but their ability to heal and regenerate allowed them to continue the never-ending battle. Their attacks were increasingly powerful and brutal, as they adapted to each other's fighting styles. SCP-682 lunged at Doomsday, its jaw snapping at the alien monster. However, Doomsday countered with his spikes, continuously damaging the lizard-like creature. The two behemoths struggled to overcome each other, each using their incredible powers to gain the upper hand. As the battle raged on, the monsters increased the intensity of their attacks. Doomsday unleashed his laser eyes, burning away SCP-682's skin, while the reptilian monstrosity sharpened its claws and teeth to inflict more damage on the alien monster. Their glowing eyes reflected their rage as they entered a ferocious battle, continuing to tear each other apart with unmatched power. Superman watched from a distance, relieved that he no longer had to deal with Doomsday's destructive wrath. The back-and-forth battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 continued relentlessly. Each scene showcased the monsters using their unique abilities to inflict harm on each other, with no end in sight. They collided with each other, wrestled, and pushed each other with incredible strength, never giving up in the face of their indestructible opponent. As the chaos unfolded, Superman intervened, containing both monsters inside a gigantic container. However, even within the confines of the container, Doomsday and SCP-682 continued their eternal battle, locked in an endless cycle of destruction. The legendary battle between the unstoppable alien monster behemoth and the indestructible reptilian monstrosity had reached a new level of intensity, with no resolution in sight. As they fought on for eternity, their powers clashed in a display of sheer strength and resilience that captivated all who witnessed their epic struggle. Words. 447. In the darkest corners of the universe, two unstoppable monsters faced off in an epic battle that shook the very foundations of reality. On one side stood Doomsday, the alien behemoth with the ability to adapt and become immune to any danger it faced. On the other side stood SCP-682, the reptilian monstrosity with a similar ability to adapt, but slightly better. As the two behemoths locked eyes, a sense of excitement filled the desolate landscape. Doomsday, always in search of a worthy opponent, finally found one in SCP-682. The lizard-like creature hissed in response, declaring that their battle would be legendary. The clash between the two monsters emitted shockwaves that reverberated across the entire battlefield. Doomsday and SCP-682 used their sharp body parts to clash with each other, each trying to outmatch the other in a brutal display of power. Both monsters struggled to overcome each other, their adaptive abilities constantly evolving to counter the other's attacks. SCP-682 used its metallic teeth to tear at Doomsday, while the alien monster used its incredible strength to rip apart the reptilian creature limb by limb. With each blow, both monsters suffered damages, only to regenerate and continue the relentless assault. SCP-682 lunged at Doomsday, but the alien fought back fiercely, using its spikes to damage the reptile's tough skin. As the battle raged on, both monsters increased the intensity of their attacks. Doomsday unleashed its laser eyes, burning away SCP-682's skin, but the reptilian creature retaliated with even sharper claws and teeth, inflicting powerful wounds on Doomsday. The monsters' eyes glowed brightly as they entered rage mode, their attacks becoming more ferocious and destructive. The battlefield became a spectacle of chaos, with Doomsday and SCP-682 exchanging blows in a fast-paced, Hollywood-style fight scene. Superman watched from above, relieved that he no longer had to face Doomsday himself. The two monsters continued to clash, neither willing to back down, each determined to emerge victorious in this epic showdown. The battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 seemed never-ending, their eternal struggle consuming them both. With a sudden burst of strength, Superman intervened, containing both monsters in a massive container. Inside the container, Doomsday and SCP-682 continued their eternal battle, trapped in an endless cycle of violence. Superman took the container to the deepest, unexplored parts of the metropolis, where the two monsters would fight for all eternity, never to be freed from their eternal struggle. And so, the legendary battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 raged on, a never-ending spectacle of power and destruction locked away from the world, leaving Superman to rest easy knowing that he had saved Metropolis from the unstoppable monsters that once threatened its very existence. Words. 455. As Superman watched from above, he marveled at the intensity of the battle unfolding before him. The ground trembled beneath his feet as Doomsday and SCP-682 clashed with unimaginable force. The sky was filled with flashes of green and red as the two indestructible monsters exchanged blows, each seemingly more powerful than the last. Doomsday, you are a formidable opponent, SCP-682 hissed, its metallic teeth glinting in the dim light. And you, SCP-682, are a worthy adversary, Doomsday growled, his glowing red eyes locked onto the lizard-like creature in front of him. The two monsters circled each other, their bodies covered in scars and bruises from their relentless combat. Each blow they exchanged seemed to only fuel their determination to defeat one another, their powers of adaptation and regeneration keeping them locked in an eternal struggle. Superman watched in awe as Doomsday unleashed a powerful blast from his laser eyes, searing SCP-682's scales. But the lizard-like creature merely shook off the damage, retaliating with a series of devastating slashes from his razor-sharp claws. The battlefield was a scene of chaos and destruction, with rocks crumbling and trees uprooting as the two monsters clashed. The ground shook with each impact, sending shockwaves rippling through the air. As the battle raged on, Superman began to realize that these two monsters were evenly matched in strength and resilience. Their ability to adapt and heal from any injury made them virtually unstoppable, each one pushing the other to their limits in a display of pure, raw power. Suddenly, Doomsday let out a deafening roar and charged at SCP-682, his spiked knuckles gleaming in the sunlight. The reptilian monstrosity responded in kind, using his bladed tail to strike at Doomsday's vulnerable spots. The two monsters grappled with each other, their bodies locked in a brutal struggle for dominance. Superman could see the determination in their eyes, the will to fight on despite the odds stacked against them. As the battle continued to rage, Superman knew that he had to find a way to contain these two unstoppable forces before they destroyed everything in their path. With a quick burst of speed, he flew down to the battlefield and summoned a massive container to trap Doomsday and SCP-682 inside. As he sealed the container shut, he could still hear the sounds of their relentless combat echoing from within. He knew that they would continue to fight for eternity, locked in an eternal struggle that would never end. Superman flew the container to the deepest, unexplored parts of the metropolis, where he buried it deep underground, ensuring that the two immortal monsters would never escape. As he flew back up to the sky, Superman felt a sense of relief knowing that he had finally found a way to contain Doomsday and keep him occupied for eternity. The city of Metropolis was safe once again, thanks to the eternal battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 that would rage on forever. Words. 498. In the desolate landscape of a destroyed city, Superman stood with a look of relief on his face as he watched the epic battle unfold between two unstoppable monsters, Doomsday and SCP-682. The ground shook and the air crackled with energy as the two behemoths clashed with incredible ferocity. Doomsday, with his glowing red eyes and massive spiked fists, was a formidable opponent. But SCP-682, the intelligent reptilian monstrosity, was no pushover either. The lizard-like creature with its metallic teeth, bladed tail, and razor-sharp claws was a force to be reckoned with. As the two monsters exchanged blows, their bodies regenerating and adapting to each other's attacks, Superman couldn't help but be amazed by the sheer power and resilience of these creatures. It was like watching a battle of gods, each one fighting to prove their dominance. I never thought I'd see the day when Doomsday would face off against a creature like SCP-682, Superman mused to himself as he floated above the battlefield. This is truly a legendary battle in the making. The shockwaves from the monsters' collisions reverberated across the entire landscape, creating a spectacle that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Each strike and counterattack was like a work of art, a deadly dance between two unstoppable forces of nature. As the battle raged on, both Doomsday and SCP-682 began to push themselves to their limits. Doomsday used his immense strength to rip apart SCP-682's limbs, while the reptilian monster used its cunning to predict Doomsday's movements and strike with precision. The clash of titans seemed never-ending, as both monsters continued to heal and regenerate from each other's attacks. The air filled with roars and screams as the two creatures fought with a ferocity that was unmatched. Superman watched in awe as Doomsday and SCP-682 locked eyes, their faces pressed together in a brutal display of strength and determination. It was a sight to behold, two immortal monsters locked in an eternal battle for supremacy. As the battle raged on, Superman suddenly had an idea. With a quick burst of speed, he flew towards the epicenter of the conflict and produced a colossal container out of thin air. With a swift motion, he contained both Doomsday and SCP-682 within the container, trapping them in an eternal struggle. As he sealed the container and placed it in the deepest, unexplored parts of the city, Superman felt a wave of relief wash over him. Doomsday and SCP-682 were now locked in a never-ending battle, keeping each other busy for eternity. I no longer have to worry about Doomsday wreaking havoc on Metropolis, Superman thought to himself. With SCP-682 by his side, they will keep each other occupied for eternity. And so, in the depths of the city, Doomsday and SCP-682 continued their eternal battle, their roars echoing through the darkness. Superman flew off into the distance, content in the knowledge that he had finally found a way to keep the unstoppable monsters at bay. The legendary battle between the two behemoths would continue for eternity, a never-ending clash of titans that would echo through the ages. Words. 526. In the desolate landscape of a barren wasteland, two unstoppable monsters faced off in an epic battle that shook the very earth beneath them. Doomsday, the formidable alien monster behemoth, and SCP-682, the intelligent reptilian monstrosity, clashed in a battle of epic proportions. Both monsters possessed the ability to adapt and become immune to whatever danger they were exposed to, making them nearly invincible opponents. As they collided with each other, the ground trembled and shockwaves reverberated across the battlefield, sending debris flying in all directions. Doomsday, with his glowing red eyes and immense strength, faced off against SCP-682, whose multiple green glowing eyes and razor-sharp claws posed a deadly threat. The two monsters exchanged blows, each one inflicting damage on the other, only to regenerate and continue the fight. The battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 was ruthless and brutal, with each monster using their unique abilities to outwit and overpower the other. Doomsday used his laser eyes to burn away SCP-682's skin, while the reptilian monstrosity used its metallic teeth to tear apart Doomsday. The clash between the two monsters seemed never-ending, as they continued to adapt and evolve in an attempt to gain the upper hand. Doomsday's spikes and fists clashed with SCP-682's bladed tail and claws, causing untold destruction in their wake. As Superman observed the battle from above, he realized that he no longer had to face the wrath of Doomsday. The eternal battle between the two monsters was a sight to behold, with neither one willing to back down or admit defeat. In a bold move, Superman intervened and captured both monsters inside a massive container, sealing them away in the deepest parts of the metropolis. Inside the container, Doomsday and SCP-682 continued to fight with each other for eternity, their endless battle contained and confined for all time. Superman, relieved that he no longer had to face the unstoppable Doomsday, could finally rest easy knowing that the two immortal monsters were locked in eternal combat. As the container lay buried deep within the earth, the battle raged on, with Doomsday and SCP-682 destined to fight each other for all eternity. And so, the legacy of Doomsday and SCP-682 lived on, their epic battle forever etched into the annals of history as a legendary clash of titans that would never be forgotten. The world was safe once more, thanks to the sacrifice of Superman and the eternal struggle between two unstoppable monsters locked in eternal combat. Words, 419. The battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 raged on, shaking the very foundation of the desolate landscape they found themselves in. The two unstoppable monsters clashed with a ferocity and intensity that was unmatched, each trying to overpower the other with their incredible strength and abilities. Doomsday, with his glowing red eyes and powerful fists, unleashed a barrage of attacks on SCP-682, trying to weaken the reptilian monstrosity. But SCP-682, with its multiple green eyes and sharp metallic teeth, countered every move with precision and skill, inflicting damage on Doomsday in return. As the two monsters continued to exchange blows, Superman watched from above, intrigued by the spectacle before him. He knew that Doomsday had finally met his match in SCP-682, a creature that was as intelligent as it was powerful, a deadly adversary that Doomsday had never faced before. The ground trembled as Doomsday and SCP-682 grappled with each other, their bodies colliding in a devastating display of strength and aggression. Despite their best efforts, neither monster seemed to gain the upper hand, each adapting to the other's attacks and regenerating from every wound inflicted. Superman knew that he had to intervene before the battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 destroyed everything in its path. With a swift motion, he conjured a massive container and trapped the two monsters inside, sealing them away in the deepest, darkest parts of the metropolis. As Doomsday and SCP-682 continued their eternal struggle inside the container, Superman breathed a sigh of relief. He knew that he had saved the city from destruction and prevented Doomsday from wreaking havoc on the world once again. And so, the legendary battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 came to an end, their eternal rivalry contained within the confines of the container, where they would fight for eternity without causing harm to anyone else. As Superman flew off into the distance, he knew that he had done what was necessary to protect the world from two unstoppable monsters. And as long as Doomsday and SCP-682 remained locked away, the people of Metropolis could rest easy, knowing that they were safe from the destructive forces of these formidable adversaries. Words, 366. In the desolate landscape of an abandoned city, two unstoppable monsters stood facing each other, ready to engage in a battle of epic proportions. Doomsday, the formidable alien monster behemoth, and SCP-682, the intelligent and equally unstoppable reptilian monstrosity, locked eyes and prepared for a legendary showdown. As the two behemoths clashed, the earth beneath them trembled with each powerful strike and counterattack. Doomsday, with his glowing red eyes, unleashed his laser beams to burn away SCP-682's skin, while the reptile used its multiple green glowing eyes to enhance the sharpness of its claws, teeth, and tail to inflict maximum damage on Doomsday. The battle between the two monsters was relentless and brutal, as they tore each other apart limb by limb, only to regenerate and heal from the devastating blows. Their bodies were covered in scars and wounds, but they continued to press on, fueled by their unyielding determination to emerge victorious. Superman, watching from above, was relieved that he no longer had to face Doomsday himself. He marveled at the sheer power and resilience of the two monsters as they continued their eternal struggle inside a container he had created to contain them. Inside the container, the eternal battle raged on, with Doomsday and SCP-682 locked in a never-ending cycle of destruction and regeneration. The clash of their bodies echoed through the walls of the container, reverberating with the sound of their endless struggle. As Superman sealed the container and buried it in the deepest, unexplored parts of the metropolis, he knew that the two immortal monsters would forever be trapped in their eternal battle, keeping each other occupied for all of eternity. The city was safe once again, thanks to the sacrifice of SCP-682, who had taken it upon himself to keep Doomsday at bay forever. Superman could finally rest easy, knowing that he had done his part to protect the world from the unstoppable alien monster behemoth. And so, the epic battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 continued on, locked in an eternal struggle inside the container, a testament to the indomitable will and power of two of the greatest monsters the world had ever seen. Words, 364. In the desolate landscape of a destroyed city, the unstoppable alien monster behemoth known as Doomsday stood face to face with the legendary reptilian monstrosity SCP-682. Both creatures, with their ability to adapt and become immune to whatever dangers they faced, were now locked in a brutal battle that shook the very ground beneath them. As the two monsters clashed, the sheer force of their attacks emitted shockwaves that rippled across the battlefield, tearing apart what little remained of the once thriving city. Doomsday, with its towering, spiked form, clashed with SCP-682, whose metallic teeth gleamed in the dim light. I have finally found a worthy opponent, Doomsday growled, its glowing red eyes fixed on SCP-682. Our battle will be legendary, SCP-682 hissed in response, its multiple green eyes narrowing in determination. The two monsters lunged at each other, their sharp body parts clashing with deafening force. Doomsday used its immense strength to rip and tear at SCP-682, while the reptile used its bladed tail and claws to slice through Doomsday's thick skin. The battle raged on, each monster adapting to the other's attacks, healing and regenerating from every wound inflicted. Doomsday unleashed its laser eyes, burning away at SCP-682's tough skin, but the reptilian creature retaliated with even sharper claws and teeth. As the monsters continued to exchange blows, their glowing eyes flashing with rage, Superman watched from above, relieved that he no longer had to face Doomsday alone. He had managed to trap both creatures inside a gigantic container, where they continued to fight endlessly. Inside the container, Doomsday and SCP-682 pushed and pulled at each other, their faces locked in a deadly dance of destruction. Superman knew that as long as the two monsters were contained, the city was safe from their destructive power. And so, the eternal battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 continued inside the container, echoing with the sounds of their relentless struggle. Superman could rest easy, knowing that his city was protected from two of the most powerful creatures in the universe. As the sun began to set on the destroyed city, the immortal monsters continued their never-ending battle, their roars echoing through the empty streets. The people of the city, safe behind their walls, could only watch in awe as the two behemoths clashed in a battle that would rage on for eternity. And as Superman flew off into the sunset, he knew that his city was safe, thanks to the unstoppable monsters locked away in their eternal cage. Words, 423. As Doomsday and SCP-682 continued their eternal battle inside the container, Superman watched from afar, relieved that he no longer had to deal with the unstoppable alien monster behemoth. The battle between the two indestructible monsters raged on, each adapting and evolving to counter the other's attacks. Is this the best you can do, Lizard? Doomsday taunted, using his sheer strength to overpower SCP-682. The reptilian monstrosity hissed in response, its multiple glowing eyes narrowing in focus. You may be strong, alien, but I am smarter. You cannot defeat me. With a swift lunge, SCP-682 sank its metallic teeth into Doomsday's shoulder, causing the alien to roar in pain. But Doomsday retaliated by using his laser eyes to burn away the lizard's scales, forcing SCP-682 to release its hold. The two monsters clashed in a flurry of claws, spikes, and teeth, each trying to gain the upper hand in the never-ending battle. As they grappled and wrestled inside the container, the ground shook and the air crackled with energy. Superman watched in awe as the two behemoths continued their epic fight. This is truly a battle for the ages, he mused, amazed at the sheer power and resilience of both Doomsday and SCP-682. As the battle raged on, the landscape around them began to change, transforming into a desolate wasteland filled with craters and debris. The shockwaves from their clashes echoed across the barren landscape, sending dust and rocks flying in all directions. I will not be defeated by a mere alien, SCP-682 growled, its green eyes glowing with determination. Doomsday grinned, his red eyes blazing with intensity. I have faced many opponents, but none as worthy as you, Lizard. The two monsters continued to exchange blows, their bodies sustaining damage but rapidly healing and regenerating. Their movements were swift and coordinated, each anticipating the other's next move with uncanny precision. As they fought, Superman observed their battle with a mix of fascination and concern. He knew that both Doomsday and SCP-682 possessed the ability to adapt and become immune to whatever danger they faced, making them virtually unstoppable. But as the battle reached its climax, a sense of unease crept over Superman. He realized that the eternal struggle between Doomsday and SCP-682 could have catastrophic consequences if they ever managed to escape from the container. With a heavy heart, Superman made a decision. He would ensure that the two monsters remained trapped inside the container for all eternity, their battle contained and unable to wreak havoc on the world. As he sealed the container and transported it to the deepest, unexplored parts of the metropolis, Superman knew that he had made the right choice. The eternal battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 would rage on, but it would do so in isolation, away from innocent lives and the world at large. And with that, Superman flew off into the sky, his heart heavy but his conscience clear. For now, at least, the world was safe from the unstoppable monster behemoth known as Doomsday and the intelligent reptilian monstrosity called SCP-682. The epic battle between them would continue for all eternity, contained and controlled, locked away in a never-ending struggle of power and resilience. Words, 543. In the desolate landscape of a forgotten civilization, a legendary battle was about to take place. Doomsday, the unstoppable alien monster behemoth, found himself face to face with SCP-682, the intelligent and formidable reptilian monstrosity. Both creatures possessed the ability to adapt and become immune to whatever dangers they faced, making them nearly invincible opponents. As they locked eyes, a sense of excitement filled the air. Doomsday, who had long been searching for a worthy opponent, finally felt a surge of anticipation at the sight of SCP-682. The reptilian creature, equally eager for a challenge, declared that their battle would be legendary. The clash of titans began, sending shockwaves across the barren landscape. Both monsters used their sharp body parts to clash with each other, each trying to overcome the other's formidable defenses. SCP-682 used its metallic teeth to tear into Doomsday, while the alien behemoth used its immense strength to rip the lizard apart limb by limb. Despite suffering damage from each other's brutal attacks, both Doomsday and SCP-682 continued to heal and regenerate, their bodies repairing themselves even as they tore each other apart. The battle was intense and relentless, with neither monster willing to back down. As the fight raged on, Doomsday unleashed his glowing red laser eyes, attempting to burn away the lizard's tough skin. In response, SCP-682 utilized its green glowing eyes to enhance the sharpness of its claws, teeth, and bladed tail, inflicting even more powerful damage on Doomsday. The monsters continued to exchange blows, their glowing eyes reflecting their rage and determination. The battle escalated to new heights as they fought with increasing power and intensity, pushing each other to their limits. Superman, observing the battle from above, was relieved that he no longer had to face Doomsday himself. The Man of Steel watched in awe as the two indestructible monsters clashed, their eternal struggle captivating his attention. In a sudden move, Superman swooped in and trapped both monsters inside a massive container. Despite being confined, Doomsday and SCP-682 continued their fierce battle without restraint, their eternal conflict now contained within the depths of the metropolis. As Superman sealed the container and left the immortal monsters to fight for eternity, he knew that he had made the right decision. With Doomsday now occupied by his powerful counterpart, SCP-682, the people of Metropolis could rest easy, knowing that their city was safe from the destructive force of the alien behemoth. And so, inside the container buried deep within the city, Doomsday and SCP-682 continued their eternal battle, locked in a never-ending struggle for supremacy. Their roars echoed through the darkness, a reminder of the power and ferocity of two unstoppable monsters destined to clash for eternity. And as Superman flew off into the horizon, he knew that he had successfully averted disaster, thanks to the relentless battle between Doomsday and SCP-682. Words: 486. The battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 raged on, the two unstoppable monsters locked in a never-ending struggle for supremacy. As they clashed and tore each other apart, the ground trembled and the skies darkened with their fierce energy. As the fight continued, Superman watched from above, amazed at the power and tenacity of the two creatures. This is truly a sight to behold, he mused to himself. I never imagined such a battle could exist. As the monsters collided once again, Doomsday's glowing red eyes locked onto SCP-682's multiple green eyes. Finally, a worthy opponent, Doomsday growled, a hint of admiration in his voice. SCP-682 hissed in response, its metallic teeth gleaming in the dim light. Our battle will be legendary, the lizard-like monster snarled, its intelligence shining through its words. The two monsters continued to exchange blows, their bodies healing and regenerating almost instantaneously. As Doomsday unleashed his laser eyes, SCP-682 countered with its sharpened claws and bladed tail, each attack more powerful than the last. Superman watched in awe as the battlefield became a chaotic symphony of destruction, the two monsters pushing each other to their limits. This is like nothing I've ever seen before, he thought, the thrill of the battle sending shivers down his spine. As the fight raged on, Doomsday and SCP-682 seemed evenly matched, their powers and abilities perfectly balanced against each other. The landscape around them lay in ruins, torn apart by their brutal clash. Suddenly, Doomsday unleashed a devastating punch, shattering SCP-682's jaw and sending the lizard monster reeling. But SCP-682 quickly recovered, its regenerative abilities kicking into overdrive as it retaliated with a ferocious bite that left deep gashes in Doomsday's alien skin. The two monsters continued to exchange blows, each attack more brutal than the last. Superman could only watch in amazement, his heart racing with excitement as the battle reached new heights of intensity. As the monsters collided once again, their faces pressed together in a fierce struggle for dominance, Superman realized that this battle was far from over. The eternal fight between Doomsday and SCP-682 had only just begun, their powers and abilities ensuring that the battle would rage on for eternity. And so, Superman made a decision. With a swift movement, he pulled out a massive container and trapped both monsters inside, sealing them away in the depths of the metropolis where their battle would continue without end. As he watched the container disappear into the darkness, Superman felt a sense of relief wash over him. At last, Doomsday is contained, he whispered, a small smile playing on his lips. And now, he has found a foe worthy of his power in SCP-682. And as the eternal battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 raged on inside the container, Superman flew off into the night, his mind filled with thoughts of the incredible battle he had witnessed and the knowledge that the world was safe once more. Words: 498. In the desolate landscape of an unnamed planet, two unstoppable monsters faced off against each other in a battle that shook the very foundations of the world. Doomsday, the alien monster behemoth, and SCP-682, the intelligent reptilian monstrosity, clashed in a showdown of epic proportions. Doomsday, with his glowing red eyes and immense strength, stared down at SCP-682, the lizard with multiple glowing eyes and razor-sharp claws. The two behemoths knew that their battle would be legendary, as they both possessed the ability to adapt and become immune to whatever danger they faced. As the battle began, the ground trembled beneath their feet as they clashed with each other in a brutal and destructive manner. Doomsday used his spikes and fists to damage SCP-682, while the lizard used its metallic teeth and bladed tail to tear apart the alien monster. Despite their best efforts, neither monster seemed to gain the upper hand as they continued to heal and regenerate from each other's attacks. Their battle emitted shockwaves across the battlefield, as they exchanged attacks and counterattacks in a fast-paced and stylish manner. As the battle raged on, both monsters activated their rage mode, increasing the intensity of their attacks. They collided with each other, pushing and wrestling with unmatched strength and power. Superman, watching from above, could only marvel at the spectacle of two indestructible monsters locked in an eternal struggle. Realizing that the battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 would never end, Superman intervened, containing them both inside a gigantic container. Inside the container, the two monsters continued their eternal battle, fighting with each other endlessly for eternity without stopping. Superman, relieved that he no longer had to deal with Doomsday, sealed the container and placed it in the deepest, unexplored parts of the metropolis. The two immortal monsters were trapped inside, eternally battling each other without rest. As Superman flew away from the scene, he knew that he had found a solution to the never-ending threat of Doomsday. The alien monster was now kept busy for eternity by his worthy opponent, SCP-682, inside the container. The world was safe once again, as the eternal battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 raged on inside the container, trapped in a never-ending struggle of strength and power. Superman could finally rest easy, knowing that the two monsters were contained and could no longer wreak havoc on the world. And so, the legend of Doomsday and SCP-682 continued to live on, as they battled each other endlessly for eternity inside the container, their fierce rivalry never coming to an end. And Superman, the protector of Metropolis, could rest easy knowing that he had finally found a way to keep the unstoppable monsters at bay. Words: 457. The battle between the unstoppable alien monster Doomsday and the formidable reptilian monstrosity SCP-682 had reached a fever pitch as both behemoths clashed in a desolate landscape, their bodies tearing each other apart with savage intensity. The ground shook with every impact, sending shockwaves rippling across the battlefield. Doomsday, with his glowing red eyes and razor-sharp spikes, clashed ferociously with SCP-682, whose metallic teeth, claws, and bladed tail posed a deadly threat to the alien monster. Both creatures possessed the incredible ability to adapt and heal from even the most devastating attacks, making their battle a seemingly endless and destructive cycle of violence. As the two monsters continued to exchange brutal blows, Superman watched from above, relieved that he no longer had to face off against Doomsday. The Man of Steel knew that the battle between the two immortal beasts would never end, their eternal struggle trapped within a container deep beneath the city. Inside the container, Doomsday and SCP-682 clashed endlessly, their bodies locked in a perpetual dance of destruction. Each monster pushed the other to the limits of their strength, determined to emerge victorious in their eternal battle. The intensity of the fight only increased as the monsters entered a rage mode, their attacks becoming even more powerful and relentless. Doomsday unleashed his laser eyes, burning away SCP-682's skin, while the reptilian monstrosity retaliated with its sharpened claws and teeth, inflicting devastating wounds on the alien creature. Despite the ferocity of their battle, neither Doomsday nor SCP-682 showed any signs of slowing down. Their bodies healed and regenerated with astonishing speed, allowing them to continue the fight without end. Each monster pushed themselves to the brink, their determination to defeat their opponent unwavering. Superman, knowing that the eternal battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 would keep the city safe from their destructive power, watched as the container containing the two monsters was sealed shut and buried deep underground. The Man of Steel knew that as long as the beasts were kept within their eternal prison, they would never pose a threat to Metropolis again. As the sun set on the desolate landscape where the behemoths had clashed, Superman felt a sense of peace knowing that he had played a part in ensuring the safety of his city. The eternal battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 would rage on, but as long as they remained contained, the people of Metropolis could rest easy knowing that they were safe from the unstoppable monster's destructive power. And so, the legendary battle between two indestructible beings continued in the depths of the earth, a spectacle of power and destruction that would echo through the ages. Words. 448. The skies darkened as the two titanic monsters clashed in a battle of epic proportions. Doomsday, the unstoppable alien monster behemoth, and SCP-682, the intelligent and adaptive reptilian monstrosity, faced off in a desolate landscape devoid of any signs of life. The ground shook as the two creatures clashed, each displaying incredible strength, resilience, and adaptability. Doomsday, with its glowing red eyes and powerful fists, unleashed a barrage of attacks on SCP-682. The reptilian creature, with its metallic teeth, claws, and bladed tail, countered with swift and deadly precision. The two monsters tore into each other, their bodies sustaining tremendous damage but healing and regenerating at an astonishing rate. As the battle raged on, shockwaves rippled across the battlefield, creating a spectacle of destruction and chaos. Doomsday and SCP-682 seemed evenly matched, each refusing to back down or be defeated. The air crackled with energy as the two behemoths clashed in a fight for supremacy. Superman, hovering above the battlefield, watched in awe as the two monsters continued their eternal struggle. He was relieved that he no longer had to face Doomsday himself, recognizing the immense power and danger that the alien behemoth possessed. Instead, he marveled at the display of strength and resilience between two of the most formidable creatures he had ever encountered. The clash between Doomsday and SCP-682 intensified as both monsters entered a state of rage, their attacks becoming even more ferocious and devastating. Doomsday unleashed its laser eyes, burning away the reptile skin, while SCP-682 used its multiple glowing eyes to sharpen its claws and teeth to inflict greater damage on its alien adversary. The battle reached a fever pitch as the monsters collided with each other, pushing and wrestling in a relentless struggle for dominance. They locked eyes, their faces pressed together as they exerted every ounce of strength and power they possessed. The ground trembled beneath them as they continued their relentless assault, neither willing to give an inch in the fight. Unable to contain the destructive force of the two monsters, Superman intervened, trapping them inside a massive container and sealing them away in the deepest, unexplored parts of the metropolis. The eternal battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 would continue unabated, their conflict echoing through the ages as they fought endlessly within their confines. Superman breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that the threat of Doomsday was contained and that he could finally rest easy. The two immortal monsters would battle for eternity, trapped in their eternal struggle within the confines of their prison. The metropolis was safe, and Superman could continue his never-ending quest to protect the world from all threats, knowing that the unstoppable monsters were kept at bay. And so, the legend of Doomsday and SCP-682 lived on, their eternal battle a testament to the power and resilience of two of the most formidable creatures ever to walk the earth. And as long as they remained locked in combat, the world would continue to be safe from their destructive forces. Words. 508. As the battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 raged on inside the containment container, the two immortal monsters continued to clash with unmatched fury and determination. The sounds of their roars echoed off the walls, reverberating through the confined space as they relentlessly fought each other. I will not be defeated by a mere alien brute like you, Doomsday. SCP-682 hissed, its eyes glowing a vibrant green as it lashed out with its bladed tail, slicing through the air towards Doomsday. Doomsday countered with a powerful punch, striking SCP-682 in the face and sending the reptilian monster stumbling backwards. You may be intelligent, lizard, but you will never be able to best me in battle. Doomsday growled, its glowing red eyes filled with fury. The two monsters clashed once again, their bodies colliding with bone-crushing force as they grappled and fought for dominance. Each blow exchanged between them left deep wounds, but both creatures simply regenerated and continued to fight on, their determination unwavering. You cannot defeat me, Doomsday. SCP-682 snarled, its teeth gritted as it lunged at the alien monster, claws extended to tear through its opponent's flesh. Doomsday roared in defiance, unleashing a barrage of punches and kicks in retaliation. The force of its blows sent SCP-682 reeling, but the reptilian monster quickly recovered, using its sharp claws and powerful jaws to strike back with equal ferocity. As the battle continued, the container shook with the intensity of their clash, the walls groaning under the strain of the two unstoppable monsters locked in combat. The air was thick with the scent of blood and sweat, the sound of their roars filling the enclosed space. We are evenly matched, Doomsday, SCP-682 hissed, its multiple eyes fixed on its opponent. But I will not rest until I have bested you in battle. Doomsday snarled in response, its fists clenched as it prepared to strike once more. I will not be defeated by a mere lizard like you, SCP-682. I will emerge victorious in this eternal struggle. With renewed determination, the two monsters launched themselves at each other, their bodies colliding with a deafening impact that reverberated through the container. The battle raged on, each blow exchanged between them increasing in intensity and power. As the hours stretched on, the eternal struggle between Doomsday and SCP-682 seemed to transcend time itself. Locked in an endless cycle of battle, the two immortal monsters fought with unmatched fury and determination, their clash echoing through the containment container for all eternity. And so, as Superman watched from afar, he knew that the battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 would continue on forever, a testament to their unyielding will and indomitable strength. And in that moment, he felt a sense of relief knowing that he no longer had to face the unstoppable alien monster himself, for Doomsday had found a worthy opponent in the form of SCP-682, the unstoppable reptilian monstrosity. The eternal battle between the two immortal monsters would rage on, trapped within the confines of the container, their struggle destined to continue for eternity. Words. 519. In the desolate landscape of a world devoid of civilization, two unstoppable monsters faced off in a battle that would shake the very foundations of reality itself. Doomsday, the alien behemoth with glowing red eyes and impenetrable skin, stood face to face with SCP-682, the reptilian monstrosity with multiple glowing green eyes and razor-sharp claws. The ground trembled as the two titans clashed, their roars echoing across the empty wasteland. Doomsday's fists collided with SCP-682's metallic teeth, causing sparks to fly in all directions. The lizard's bladed tail slashed through the air, leaving deep gashes in Doomsday's armored skin. Despite their brutal attacks, both monsters seemed to be evenly matched. Every wound inflicted by Doomsday was quickly healed by SCP-682's regenerative abilities, and every blow landed by the lizard was shrugged off by Doomsday's incredible resilience. As the battle raged on, the two creatures began to unleash their full power. Doomsday's glowing red eyes intensified, and beams of energy shot out from them, searing the lizard's flesh. In retaliation, SCP-682's green eyes glowed brighter, augmenting the sharpness of its claws and teeth to deal devastating blows to Doomsday. The landscape around them was torn apart as the two monsters continued their relentless assault. Rocks were shattered, trees uprooted, and the very air crackled with the energy of their battle. Superman, watching from above, could only marvel at the sheer ferocity of the combatants. But as the fight dragged on, it became clear that neither Doomsday nor SCP-682 would be able to overcome the other. Their abilities to adapt and resist danger seemed to be perfectly matched, creating an eternal stalemate that threatened to consume everything in its path. In a desperate bid to end the endless conflict, Superman intervened. Using all of his strength, he contained both monsters within a massive container, trapping them in a never-ending battle that would rage for all eternity. As the container was lowered into the deepest, unexplored parts of Metropolis, Superman let out a sigh of relief. With Doomsday and SCP-682 locked away, he could finally rest easy, knowing that the city was safe from their destructive power. And so, deep within the confines of the container, the immortal monsters continued their eternal struggle, each striving to overcome the other in a battle that would never end. And as Superman flew off into the sky, he knew that he had finally found a way to keep the unstoppable forces of Doomsday and SCP-682 at bay, ensuring that the world would remain safe from their destructive power for all time. Words. 432. In the desolate landscape of a forgotten world, two unstoppable monsters faced off against each other in an epic battle that shook the very ground beneath them. Doomsday, the alien behemoth known for his ability to adapt and become immune to any danger he faced, stood face to face with SCP-682, the intelligent reptilian monstrosity with the same unique ability. As the two behemoths stared each other down, a sense of mutual respect and anticipation filled the air. Doomsday, towering over SCP-682 with his immense strength and glowing red eyes, broke the silence. Finally, a worthy opponent, he growled, a hint of excitement in his voice. SCP-682, with its metallic teeth glinting in the dim light, hissed back in response. Our battle will be legendary, the reptile declared, its multiple eyes glowing with intelligence and cunning. And so, the battle began. The two monsters clashed with a ferocity that was unmatched, each using their sharp body parts to tear into the other. Doomsday, with his spiked knuckles and immense strength, tore apart SCP-682's limbs with brutal efficiency. But the reptile fought back with equal force, using its bladed tail and sharp claws to inflict devastating wounds on the alien behemoth. As the battle raged on, both monsters showed no signs of slowing down. Each blow was met with a counterattack, each wound quickly healed and regenerated. The landscape around them was torn apart as they exchanged blows, creating a spectacle of destruction unlike anything seen before. Superman, watching from above, marveled at the intensity of the battle below. He was relieved that he no longer had to face Doomsday himself, now that the alien beast had found a new and equally formidable opponent in SCP-682. As the fight raged on, both monsters entered a rage mode, their glowing eyes burning brightly with anger and determination. They continued to clash with even greater power and intensity, their attacks becoming more and more brutal with each passing moment. In a stunning display of strength and resilience, Doomsday and SCP-682 collided with each other, locking their heads and faces together in a fierce struggle for dominance. They pushed and shoved each other with unimaginable force, their bodies straining with the effort of the battle. Superman, realizing the danger of the situation, quickly intervened. He summoned a giant container and managed to trap both monsters inside, sealing them away in the deepest, darkest parts of the metropolis. As the container vanished from sight, Superman breathed a sigh of relief. The eternal battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 would continue on, locked away forever and ever, without endangering the world above. And so, the unstoppable monsters remained trapped in their eternal struggle, a testament to the power and resilience of two beings who could never be defeated. And Superman, watching from afar, knew that he had done the right thing in sparing the world from their destructive wrath. Words. 489. The intense battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 raged on, each monster using their incredible abilities to adapt and resist the damage inflicted by the other. The ground trembled beneath them as they clashed with brute force, their roars shaking the very foundation of the desolate landscape they fought on. I will not be defeated by a mere lizard. Doomsday bellowed as he slammed his fists into SCP-682, causing the creature to hiss in anger. You may be intelligent, but you are no match for my strength. SCP-682 let out a sinister chuckle as he used his sharp claws to tear into Doomsday's impenetrable skin. Strength alone will not save you, alien. I am the ultimate survivor, and I will outlast you in this battle. As the two monsters continued to exchange blows, their powers of adaptation became more evident. Doomsday's glowing red eyes burned with intensity as he unleashed powerful laser beams at SCP-682, only for the reptilian creature to counter with an increase in the sharpness of his teeth, claws, and tail. The sky above them crackled with energy as their battle reached a fever pitch, the shockwaves of their clashes echoing across the entire battlefield. Superman, watching from a safe distance, marveled at the sheer ferocity of the combatants before him. This is unlike anything I've ever seen, Superman muttered to himself, knowing that he could not intervene in the battle between two such formidable foes. They are evenly matched in every way. As Doomsday and SCP-682 continued to push each other to their limits, the very fabric of reality seemed to warp around them. Time itself seemed to slow as their movements became a blur of motion and violence. In a sudden burst of rage, Doomsday and SCP-682 locked eyes, their faces mere inches apart as they pushed against each other with all their might. The sheer force of their clash created a shockwave that rippled outwards, causing the ground to split beneath them. Superman, realizing the destructive potential of the two monsters, acted quickly. With a burst of speed, he produced a massive container and sealed them both inside, trapping them in an eternal struggle for supremacy. As he watched the container disappear into the depths of the metropolis, Superman felt a sense of relief wash over him. Doomsday and SCP-682 were now contained, their eternal battle kept away from innocent lives. The world is safe once more, Superman said with a sigh, knowing that he had done the right thing by removing the two unstoppable monsters from the world. But their legacy will forever haunt us. And so, Doomsday and SCP-682 remained locked in their eternal struggle, their roars and cries echoing through the depths of their prison. The battle between the alien and the reptile had become a legend, a story of two unstoppable forces colliding in a never-ending war. And as long as they remained contained, the world was safe from their destructive power. Words, 499. In the desolate landscape of a post-apocalyptic world, two unstoppable monsters stood face to face, ready to engage in an epic battle that would shake the very foundations of reality. Doomsday, the alien behemoth with the ability to adapt and become immune to any danger, stared down SCP-682, the intelligent reptilian monstrosity with the same ability but slightly superior. As Doomsday and SCP-682 locked eyes, a wave of energy seemed to ripple through the air, crackling with power and anticipation. Doomsday, with his glowing red eyes, spoke first, finally, a worthy opponent worthy of my strength and power. SCP-682, with its multiple green glowing eyes, replied in a low, growling voice, our battle will be legendary, as we test each other's limits and powers in this eternal struggle. And with that, the two behemoths clashed, their bodies colliding with such force that the very ground beneath them trembled. Doomsday used his incredible strength to rip and tear at SCP-682, while the reptilian monstrosity used its razor-sharp teeth, claws, and tail to slash and cut at Doomsday's alien form. The battle raged on, with each monster adapting to the other's attacks and regenerating from their wounds almost instantly. Doomsday unleashed his laser eyes, burning away SCP-682's skin, only for the lizard to retaliate with even sharper teeth and claws, causing the alien to stagger back. Superman, watching from above, could only marvel at the spectacle unfolding below. The two monsters, both indestructible and unyielding, continued to trade blows with such ferocity that it seemed as though the very fabric of reality was tearing apart. As the battle reached a fever pitch, both Doomsday and SCP-682 activated their rage mode, unleashing even more power and intensity in their attacks. The screen shifted rapidly, showcasing the brutal exchanges between the two monsters, each scene more savage than the last. But just as it seemed like the battle would never end, Superman intervened, containing both monsters inside a massive container. Inside the container, the eternal struggle continued, with Doomsday and SCP-682 locked in a never-ending cycle of violence and aggression. Superman, relieved that he no longer had to face the threat of Doomsday, sealed the container in the deepest, unexplored parts of the metropolis, where the two monsters would be forced to battle for all eternity. And so, Doomsday and SCP-682 remained trapped inside the container, their eternal conflict raging on without end. Superman, knowing that the world was safe from their destructive power, could finally rest easy, knowing that the two unstoppable monsters would be busy fighting each other for eternity. The battle of the Titans had been contained, but the echoes of their clash would reverberate throughout the ages, a testament to the unstoppable force of nature and the unyielding will of the creatures that inhabited it. Words, 473. In the desolate landscape of a world without civilization, Doomsday, the unstoppable alien monster behemoth, found himself face to face with SCP-682, the equally unstoppable reptilian monstrosity. The two legendary beasts locked eyes, acknowledging each other as worthy opponents. I have finally found a challenge that matches my might, Doomsday growled, his glowing red eyes fixated on SCP-682. The reptile hissed in response, its multiple green eyes gleaming with intelligence. Our battle will be legendary indeed, SCP-682 replied, its metallic teeth glinting in the dim light. As the two behemoths clashed, the very ground beneath them trembled with the force of their blows. Doomsday used his immense strength to rip and tear at SCP-682, while the reptilian monstrosity countered with its bladed tail and sharpened claws. Both monsters possessed the ability to adapt and regenerate, making the battle seemingly endless. As they exchanged increasingly powerful attacks, the landscape around them was torn apart in the wake of their struggle. Doomsday unleashed his laser eyes, burning away the lizard's skin, only for SCP-682 to retaliate with even sharper teeth and claws. The two monsters seemed evenly matched, each striving to overcome the other's resilience. Superman, who had been watching the battle unfold from above, was relieved that he no longer had to face Doomsday himself. He marveled at the spectacle of the two immortal beasts locked in eternal combat. As the battle raged on, Doomsday and SCP-682 entered a rage mode, unleashing even greater power and intensity in their attacks. They seemed to be locked in a never-ending cycle of destruction and regeneration, each refusing to yield to the other. Despite their unrelenting assault, neither monster showed any signs of slowing down. Superman, realizing the danger their battle posed to the world, intervened by trapping them both inside a containment unit. Inside the container, Doomsday and SCP-682 continued their eternal struggle, their roars echoing endlessly as they clashed with unmatched ferocity. Superman, content that the two immortal monsters were contained, rested easy knowing that Metropolis was safe from their destructive power. The epic battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 had been contained, but their rivalry would endure for eternity inside the confines of the container, where they would fight endlessly without end. And so, the unstoppable alien monster behemoth and the intelligent reptilian monstrosity remained forever locked in battle, their eternal conflict a testament to their unyielding will and unmatched power. The legend of Doomsday and SCP-682 would live on, a tale of two immortal monsters destined to battle for all time. Words, 429. In the desolate landscape of a world devoid of civilization, two unstoppable monsters faced off against each other in a battle that shook the very ground they stood on. Doomsday, the alien behemoth known for adapting and becoming immune to any danger it faced, stood face to face with SCP-682, the intelligent reptilian monstrosity with the same ability to adapt but slightly better. As the two behemoths locked eyes, a sense of anticipation filled the air. Doomsday finally felt a surge of excitement as he had found a worthy opponent in SCP-682. The reptilian creature, on the other hand, declared that their battle would be legendary. The clash between Doomsday and SCP-682 emitted shockwaves across the entire battlefield as the monsters used their sharp body parts to clash with each other. The battle was brutal and relentless, with both monsters struggling to overcome each other's adaptive abilities. SCP-682 used its metallic teeth to tear apart Doomsday, while the alien creature used its immense strength to rip and tear the lizard limb by limb. The monsters inflicted damage upon each other with increasingly powerful attacks, yet both continued to heal and regenerate from every assault. The battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 seemed never-ending, with both monsters refusing to back down. They exchanged attacks and counterattacks in a fast-paced, stylish manner that seemed straight out of a Hollywood movie. As the monsters continued to tear each other apart, they unleashed their full power. Doomsday increased the brightness of its glowing red eyes and used its laser eyes to burn away SCP-682's skin. In response, the reptilian creature sharpened its teeth, claws, and tail to inflict even more damage on Doomsday. The monsters entered a rage mode, attacking each other with even greater intensity. The eternal battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 involved a constant shift of scenes, showcasing the destruction and chaos they inflicted upon each other. Superman, floating in the sky, watched the battle unfold with a sense of relief that he no longer had to deal with Doomsday. He contained both monsters inside a gigantic container and buried it in the deepest, unexplored parts of the metropolis. Inside the container, Doomsday and SCP-682 continued their eternal battle, trapped in a never-ending cycle of violence. Superman was finally able to rest easy, knowing that the two immortal monsters were kept busy for eternity. The battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 was a spectacle to behold, a clash of titans that would be remembered for generations to come. And as the monsters fought endlessly inside the container, the world outside remained safe from their destructive power. Words, 441. As the battle between Doomsday and SCP-682 raged on, the ground beneath them trembled and cracked from the sheer force of their powerful blows. The two behemoths clashed, their roars echoing across the desolate landscape as they exchanged brutal attacks with unmatched ferocity. Do you feel pain, alien? SCP-682 hissed, its multiple eyes glowing with malicious intent. You may be strong, but I am smarter. I will outwit you and emerge victorious in this battle. Doomsday bellowed in response, its glowing red eyes narrowing as it prepared to unleash its full wrath upon the reptilian monstrosity. You may be intelligent, lizard, but I am relentless. I will not rest until you are defeated, no matter how many times you regenerate. The two monsters clashed once more, their bodies colliding with bone-shaking force as they fought for dominance. Doomsday's spikes tore into SCP-682's tough scales, causing green ichor to spill from the wounds. In retaliation, SCP-682 slashed at Doomsday with its razor-sharp claws, leaving deep gashes in its alien flesh. As the battle raged on, Superman watched from above, his expression tense as he witnessed the sheer power and resilience of the two unstoppable monsters. He knew that this was a battle unlike any other, one that could potentially shake the very foundations of the world. Containment is the only option, Superman murmured to himself, his eyes fixed on the titanic struggle below. With a swift movement, he conjured a massive container and trapped both Doomsday and SCP-682 inside, sealing them away from the world. Inside the container, the two monsters continued their eternal battle, their roars echoing off the metal walls as they clashed endlessly. Each blow was met with a fierce counterattack, neither monster willing to yield in their quest for supremacy. Superman watched from a safe distance, his heart heavy with the knowledge that he had sacrificed two powerful beings to protect the world. But he knew that this was the only way to ensure the safety of mankind, to prevent the destruction and chaos that would surely follow if Doomsday and SCP-682 were allowed to roam free. And so, the battle between the two immortal monsters raged on inside the container, their eternal struggle serving as a grim reminder of the power and danger that lurked in the universe. And as Superman flew off into the distance, he knew that he had done what was necessary to protect the world from the unstoppable forces of Doomsday and SCP-682. Words, 418.